Hello again, it's Lila Rose from Lila Rose Inspirations here with another update of my post-op surgery. This is the 2-week update post-op. So in my 2-week post-op, I go back to the hotel and I have my new wrap, everything's great, and I think I was standing up to change my dress. I think that's what I was doing. And all of a sudden, I did hear a little snap, and it freaked me out. I could tell, because it sounded like, when you have cloth that you stitched and you use one of those hooks to break the stitches, that is what it sounded like. And I felt it inside my stomach. So it did make me nervous that that had happened. Nothing against the surgeon at all, because that stuff does happen sometimes. And I think it's because of how I moved, like maybe a past injury, a weakness. There was something that caused it to happen. And so I told my husband, I said, I think one of my stitches popped when he came over to where I was, like, what's wrong? And he said, oh, you're fine. You have hundreds, thousands, whatever stitches inside you. So you'll be fine, but be careful now. And I didn't tell my surgeon. I probably should have, just for my own peace of mind, because I knew that it was fine. That's why my particular surgeon, why I call him a specialist, is because the other surgeon that I had a consultation with that was local, he showed, in his diagram when he was showing me how he does his surgery, that there would be just 12 large sutures, X'd down my middle. And that he had told me that I could have some rippling in places where the muscle maybe doesn't heal together completely, which I appreciate his honesty. That was, very, very good that, I knew that, but it wasn't really satisfying for me. So that is why I looked elsewhere too. I mean, I already had a consultation with this other surgeon just because he was out of state. I wasn't able to get in with him as soon as my local surgeon. So, I had my consultation with him later. And he has a method where he stitches so many times. He has so many stitches in there that if one pops, it's not a big deal. So that's why I knew, even though that happened, that I was okay. I didn't have to worry about it. But, people worry. We all have our things. And I think in the back of my mind, I worried about it a lot. So I really should have told him, even if he would have said, you'll be fine. And because I knew he would say that. So that's why I didn't say anything. But, you learn, live and learn. And so then I was extra careful and I made sure that my wrap was super tight, kept everything in place. And really the 2-week was not a whole lot different from the first, except it no longer had drains. The bathroom got a little easier, but it was still not my favorite thing to do. And my husband actually went back home to be with our daughters, where my mom and my sister were with my daughters during the time he was with me. So then he went back to be with them, and my sister-in-law had come to help take care of me. And she was very helpful. I think there's a lot more she had to do than she bargained for, which was I was wearing, as I showed in the last video, this 3-piece binder. This one keeps falling. But it's a 3-piece binder with all these lovely, Velcro pieces. And I couldn't really do it myself because, like I said before in the second video, the last one I just did, that your arms and using your arms, you don't realize how much you use your abs to do that. So pulling the Velcro off of the wrap, you wouldn't think that, and it was very strong Velcro, that I wouldn't be able to do it, but I really couldn't. So she had to help me with that so I could get in and out of the shower. And that was stressful for her because she didn't want to hurt me, and a lot of work for her. And helping me get in and out of bed also. She had to do it much longer than my husband had to, since I went to the aftercare facility while he was with me. So yeah, she did a lot of work and made sure she got food for me and all that. It was very, very wonderful, very supportive, very helpful. And so that was what I had to do at that point. And after, like, I can't remember if it was a day or 2 days, after my 1 week appointment that I could take a shower. And after that, at that point, I had to take a shower every day. So she had to help me with that every day until my 2 week post-op. So I really just relaxed, same old during that time. Now I did get worried at one point a few days after my 1 week appointment, and I think maybe part of it's because I finally did take the wrap off to take a shower. And this is where I say I somewhat missed the drains, because I think what happened, I didn't understand it at the moment, but I think what happened was the fluids then started to kind of fill in and put a lot of pressure, inside my stomach area. And when it was compressed, it kind of kept the swelling and the fluids from taking over. But when I took it off to take my first shower, I just could tell that it was like, boom, I swelled up down there, and put the wrap on. And I had been told that I could lay down flat at that point. I still had my legs elevated, but I didn't feel completely comfortable laying down flat yet. So I did have myself elevated, which may have been a mistake, because I was getting a lot of pressure around my hips, and I was getting nervous that maybe I had something wrong happening. So I did contact my surgeon, and he had me take pictures, thought maybe I had a seroma, and I did not. A seroma is when you're maybe overactive and fluids build up inside around your incision, I think mostly, but they build up and they need to be drained. So it was thought that maybe I had that, but I didn't. It was the fluids being trapped in my hip area because I was not laying down flat. And the way to get those fluids moving up is to lay down flat, because it will go nowhere around your hips. It has to move up to cycle out of your body. So I did not know that, and it made a world of a difference when I did learn that, and I decided, okay, I'll lay down flat now. And yeah, that was a good move. So luckily I did that before my 2 week post-op appointment, made that discovery, made that adjustment, so that then I felt much better by the time I had my 2 week post-op. So I went through that healing process. Showers, you had to be there pretty briefly, because they didn't want water rushing down on the incision for too long. And it has the safety pins.
They want us to put it back together.
Yes.
Okay. Turn that to the in there, so let's see, and then, okay. And then how does it seal? Is it like a Velcro?
It is.
Okay.
So
but the pins will stay. I have
panels.
to bring it all the way back over to each of these pins, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And so then, yeah, I need to take the panels off. I don't know. Maybe I could do it. So if I can. Just the beginning of it.
Does that work? Oh, it's now doing it. Okay, gauze goes right here. Metal tape across. We've got one snap undone. There's a lot of work. Very tight. Very, very, very tight. Okay, it basically goes over the bell button area. Okay. Just add it in there. Okay. These little dots right there?
Yeah.
And we put the tape all the way out here, right?
Well, the tape's going to stay,
Okay.
from what I understand.
Okay. Okay. All the tape stays.
Yes.
Okay. Exactly where those lines are is exactly where we need to be.
I kept the tape on around my incision, and I just had to pat it, keep it in place, keep it all dry. And well, I would say the biggest struggle at the 2 week mark was the shower. Like the bathroom still, was a thing, but it wasn't as difficult, I don't think, as taking a shower. And I had to take a shower every day once I was allowed to. So, up to the 2 week post-op appointment. So yeah, my sister-in-law had helped me with the wrap, take it off, had to remember where to put, like I had little pieces of gauze, like one to put over my belly button so that didn't rub, and on the drain sites where the drains were, and it still needed to heal, it had gauze there. So I had to, take those things off, put them back on, before and after the shower, and then, you know, having to lift my arms to wash my hair and all that was a lot of work. It just was exhausting, a big production. And you weren't really supposed to be in the shower for super long, no like body wash or anything, just let it run down and get kind of clean, and that's it. So, and then my sister-in-law would help me put my wrap back on with all the gauze pieces in place first, and then wrap back on, and then I'd go lay back down. So that is what probably the biggest part of that time was. But I did start to feel a lot better at the 2-week mark. Quite a difference. I mean, it's still somewhat miserable, you know, you're healing and all that, but then I went to the 2-week post-op appointment, and there the surgeon, you know, took the wrap off, looked at everything, thought it looked great, took some photos, and I was then sent on my way. Now, what they told me to do for the next 4 weeks, up until my 6-week appointment, was to take a shower, you know, as normal, and reapply the tape every day, and use the aquifer every day on the belly button, you know, at that point. And then every 4 days, take off the tape and just let it breathe, and just use the aquifer on all the incision points. So that was the regimen I did for the next 4 weeks. And then we flew home the next day. Now I suggest for everyone who's traveling to have probably any surgery, but this surgery in particular, that you need to order along with your ticket wheelchair assistance. Maybe even up to, like, I think you can do it to the gate or to the airplane. And I suggest to the airplane, a lot less walking, because it's a big, you don't realize how long even going down to the airplane, how long of a walk that is until you have a major surgery that affects your walking. So since they also don't want you, again, still to lift more than 5 pounds or to walk long distances, then rushing through an airport is not really ideal. So getting a wheelchair helps so much. You know, my husband and my sister-in-law took care of all of the necessary, because he came back. My husband came back, I didn't mention that, to help get me back home. So they took care of all the luggage, and I just had my little carry-on and wheelchair, pushed me through everything, and it just made the traveling experience so much better, because it is very uncomfortable to sit for that long and not be able to really lay down after having this surgery. It was a big day. I made it through, and I think it was as comfortable as it could have been, but definitely that made a huge difference, because even on the flight, you know, you can have 2-hour flight that you're sitting, and I hadn't been sitting for 2 weeks, so it was very uncomfortable. I sometimes had to stand up to, you know, I don't know, maybe because the swelling, I just felt like I needed to stand up a little bit, because it's compressing too, just when you sit. I would say sitting was the most uncomfortable thing for me to do the whole time I was healing. In the first 6 weeks, really, sitting was the worst. Standing was fine, and laying down was the best, but you know, so that day was a challenging day, but that's where, if you have help and a wheelchair, you'll be able to make it through and make it home. And I got home, I was able to lay down and just relax. So that is the end of my 2-week post-op update. I have some photos to share of that time, you know, so that you can kind of see, since I didn't video this conversation at that time to share, I can at least share some of the steps that I took in the journey through these photos. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you again when I have my next update. Thank you. Bye.